Folks, this is the 2nd of May 2021 and I am standing on the very spot at my small rural home where my father was murdered by the Provisional IRA 36 years ago tomorrow morning at approximately 7 a.m. My father and I had no idea that this evening would be the last that we would ever spend together as father and son. Sadly, many people today in South Down and beyond still engage in a misguided romanticism as part of what constituted the Provisional IRA campaign. This murder exemplified the Provisional IRA in its truest form. Hate-filled, unhinged, brutal, depraved. I could use many words from the dictionary, but primarily designed to assuage their sectarian bloodlust of their Protestant neighbour and those Catholics who they deemed through their kangaroo courts to be collaborators. It's deeply nauseating to hear all the revisionist rhetoric that these Provisional IRA terrorists were of all things freedom fighters, patriots, soldiers of Oglen Aharon. Really? Even volunteers. So what, did they give up their time freely to kill the innocent? What soldier would creep into this home of the most quiet, unassuming and defenceless Protestant man, then hide in an old outside toilet? This provo coward waited until my father's back was turned, forced him to his knees and shot him twice in the top of the head at point blank range, just where I'm standing. The gunman waited for his body to fall, then dragged him away by the feet like an animal and left him lying at the side of the barn where I found him that morning. Folks, we know he was on his knees due to the vertical trajectory of the bullets and because one bullet was actually retrieved from my father's abdomen. Folks, it wasn't just here their deadly reign of terror occurred. It happened right across the parliamentary constituency of South Down, where they shot a garage owner in the head in Rathfriland, a customs officer in Warrenpoint, a carpenter in Kilkeel, and a coalman in Downpatrick. Folks, I could recite many other examples. We think of the 18 young paratroop soldiers in Warrenpoint, 4 young UDR soldiers in Downpatrick, 3 young UDR soldiers in Burnbridge, 3 young members of the Parachute Regiment in Mayorbridge. We think of Constables Ferguson and Finlay. We think of Constable Fitzpatrick Eade, Hazlitt and Rolston, Constable Shaw. Folks, all innocent members of this community. Yet again, this was the South Down Provisional IRA in all its cruelty and inhumanity. They didn't care a 12-year-old child would find his father's body here at our home. If they had the capacity to murder women and children, child abuse in this murder really wouldn't have impacted upon their conscience. I hope my social media friends in mainland UK and in particular Southern Ireland who view this little clip via social media, please dispel any notion that you may have about Provisional IRA legitimacy, or indeed that of any of the terrorist organisations who operated here. Folks, I have repeatedly challenged my local MP, Mr. Christopher Hazard of Sinn Féin, to condemn my father's murder and that of the 70 other innocent people murdered across this constituency. Just think of the magnitude and the devastation inflicted upon these 70 families, Chris. Yet you have nothing to say, and yet you ignore my repeated requests. Why, Chris? Surely that's the basic tenets of empathy and compassion one would expect from an MP, our MP. Sinn Féin cannot condemn one group of terrorists and yet extol the virtues of another. That really is a personification of hypocrisy. Then again, we are talking about Sinn Féin. All terrorism, irrespective of source, was reprehensible, and nothing justified the taking of innocent life. Just what happened here in Laganani, where I'm standing. It's imperative that we continue to protect the memory and integrity of our loved ones. And that's what I'm simply doing today on my father's anniversary. To you, Sinn Féin, you may have the machine, you may have the resources, you may have the propaganda. But we, the innocent victims of Northern Ireland, we have the truth. To the person or persons who murdered my father, if you are watching this little clip, you may think that you have escaped justice. But ultimately, God will be your judge and justice will prevail.